Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So in this video we are going to build the to-do application in ReactJS. So here in my VS Code I have created a boilerplate React application. Now let us clean this files from this React application which we don't need. So I am going to remove all these unnecessary files here which we don't need in order to develop our application, and I also don't need this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to remove all the code from CSS. Why? Because for styling, I'm going to use the Tailwind CSS, and I'm going to remove this as well. That's it. Now, let us set up the Tailwind CSS in our React application. So here is the Tailwind website. We have to click on the Get Started button, and here you can see the Framework Guide tab. You just have to search for the Create React tab. Now click on this. Now we have already created our project, so we don't need to do this. We just have to install the Tailwind CSS in our project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this command and go to my VS Code, open a new terminal, paste there and press enter. So within a couple of seconds it will download all the dependencies. Now then copy this command. Now paste this, press enter. It will create a Tailwind CSS config file in this. Now what we need to do is we need to add this content section in the Tailwind CSS config file. Why? Because with the help of this content property, Tailwind CSS can be applied to any of the file, whether it is TypeScript file or JavaScript file with JS extension, JSX extension, or TS or TSX extension, which is a TypeScript extension. Now one more step is left, which is that we have to copy all these Tailwind CSS directives and paste them into the index.css file. That's it. The entire process of including the Tailwind CSS in our application is completed. Now what we are going to do? See, first of all, we will be mainly focusing on the business logic, okay, like how to create to do, how to delete the to do application, okay, and after that we are going to add the CSS into this application. Now let us start. So first of all, here I am going to import use state hook. Why? Because I have the state to manage. Let me tell you what will be the state which we need to manage. See, first will be the all the to dos which we have. Okay, this array will be storing all those to dos. Then we will have the form to take the input now. So this second state will handle that thing. Value, set value. Now what we need to do? Let us create the form. First of all, let me give some class name here. Container mx auto double fit border -2. Okay, now inside this I will create one form. Now inside this form we will have one div which will have margin on y-axis of 5. It's not working. Problem. we will create a div which will have a class name of 5 on the y-axis. Then inside this we will create the input tag which placeholder says enter to do item. Now the value which we will pass is this value here, because we will write something inside this formula, and then we will add the on change event because we need to set the value in this hook. It will be event dot target dot value. Now from where this event will come? This event will come from this callback function. Now let me again copy this entire div and paste it here. Now we will not be using this, we will have a button which will say add to do, type will be submit. Now let us run this application. First of all, let me clear this. And how you will run the application? You just have to write the npm start and then press enter. That's it. Now within a couple of seconds this React application will open in your browser. Now see, we have got this input tag and this button. Now let us give some basic styling to this input tag, and let us add this VS Code and this terminal side by side. So that we can see what we are going to do. Okay. Now let us add some basic style to this button, which say background of this we are going to set. Text will be of white. This will be the text size. We will add some border radius. We will add the width of full, means 100%, and then we are going to add padding. From padding on x-axis we want 5 and on y-axis we want 3. Okay, that's great. And one more thing we can do is text, it will be recapitalize property, and I can add the font bold property, font bold class, to make the text of button in bold format. Now let me add some basic styling to this input tag as well. Border 2, we will give outline none, and padding on x-axis needs to be, we will add 5, padding on y-axis will be 3, and we will add some border rounded MD. Now let me see if it is working. Okay, it is working. Great. Now just let me add one more thing, width full, and let us class name width full to this div as well. Now let me check. Okay, let us add border 2 to this form as well. Let us add width full. Okay, and we will restrict the width here, that width should be 90% for the mobile, and for desktop screen it should be the 100 pixel. and seam we can write the margin auto on the x-axis for this. Okay, now it is perfectly in the center. Now let us see. Okay, now it is working perfectly fine. We just have to do one thing, that we will add the text lg class here. Okay, now let us try to add the main business logic. Now see, on form what we want to do, when we submit our form, so I need to call this method handle submit. This handle submit will handle our to-do list. So here I am creating one arrow function. This arrow function will have an event parameter. So we will add e dot prevent default. See why I am adding e dot prevent default, because when you try to submit the form now, and if you don't add this, so what will happen, your browser your page will refresh again and again. Let me show you, let me comment this. See here on the React logo, your application is reloading again and again, but if I add this, then nothing will happen. See, and let me print the console.log in this application. You can see here, form submitting. See, now it is getting logged multiple times, but if I comment this, see, it is not getting, it is getting appeared on the console, but when my page is refreshing, so it is getting disappeared. So to prevent this default behavior, now we use this event dot prevent default, and from where event we are receiving this event parameter. See, from here on submit, because when you pass the reference now, then at that time you have access of event parameter in this function. That's why we are receiving this. Now see what we want to do. First of all, what we will do now, we will install one new package to get some unique ID. Okay, npm install uuid. So basically uuid package is for getting unique ID each and every time. Now let me import this, import something from uuid. Now what do we want to bring from this uuid? We want to bring v4 as uuid. So see here I want to import this version 4, and here I am adding a alias name, means I want to call this version 4 with some another name, so that's why I have written as uuid. Okay, now let me construct one to do object, const to do object equal to, now what we will pass in this, we will pass the content, which is the value, and then we will add a unique id which will be uuid. Okay, so it is a function and we need to call this function like this way. Now what I want to do, I want to set this to do object into this array. Okay, how I will do this, I will simply call this set to do. Okay, and I will just pass the to do object inside this. Okay, see, we will have some problem here, okay, with this line of code, and I will tell you what problem we will face. Okay, but before that, let me add, let me add one div, and we will give a class name of border to border. I will give a random color here, which will be 3944F7. Okay, this is the border which we have got. or instead of this border now I can simply use the horizontal line tag. Okay, we have got that thing. Now what I will do, I will create one div, and now see where we are storing our all the to-dos. All the to-dos are getting stored in this to-dos. It should be to-dos in this to-dos array. So now how we will display all the to-dos here? We have to map over this array. Now let me show you how we are going to map over this. First of all, we will open this curly braces. Why? Because we can write any JavaScript here in this curly braces. Now you will call the array name. So here we are using to-dos. So here I am using the to-dos, and then we will use dot map. And now see, dot map give you two things. One is the to-do object, and second will be the index. Now what we need to do, we need to return something from this. Now what we are going to return here, we are going to return let me check what is the problem here. What is the problem? Okay, let us press Ctrl Z multiple times. I have returned this. Here I am closing this div. Okay, now what I want to write here is let us add the paragraph tag here. And now see, in this to do object what we have this content property and a id property. Okay, so what I need to do is we will write this to do object dot content. This we need to write. Okay, now let us try to add some to do here. Let me add my name only. Okay, now our application is getting crashed, and let me tell you why it is getting crashed. See, before setting the to do, let me log this to do's array in the console. Okay, and after doing this, let me add again this to do's object. Okay, and let me show you why it is happening. See, if I write my name, then what will happen? Initially it was array. Okay, but you know, after adding this, what we have done, let me tell you, this is an object. Okay, and this is an array, so we have replaced this array with this object. That's why our to-dos dot map, this map is executed on the array now. That's why it is not working. Then what you need to do, see, you need to create one array. Okay, and in this array you need to add this to-do object. Okay, because inside array you can store now multiple elements. So this is how this code will work. And let me remove this console.log now. Let me remove this. See, if I add now, you can see the name here. But now see one issue here, or the warning which we are getting on the console, that each child in a list should have a unique key prop. Now why I am getting, see, and let me tell you from where we are getting this error. We are getting this warning inside this return. Why? Because you know, when we use the map function over an array, we need to pass a key prop into the child element. Why? Because that key prop makes sure that whichever element is updated or removed, so it should only render that element. Okay. Then how we are going to solve this issue? You need to add this key prop, and you can pass this index, okay, inside this key prop. And now let me again refresh this and let me show you. Now this error is gone. But now let me try to add another value. Now let me show you. See, now what is happening? Again our application is not working perfectly. Why? Because earlier there was a name. Okay, now instead of adding this application, instead of adding this to do, what has happened? It has replaced the old to do with the new to do. Okay, that's why we are getting only the new content here. So now how you can solve or fix this issue? Let me show you. See, we are getting this issue here. What it is saying, see, whenever you want to set the to-dos now, you are creating an array, inside that array you are setting this object. Now see, when you will click each and every time some new you will get some new value, and in array you have only one value, so again and again that new value is replacing the old value. Now in order to fix this issue, what you will do, see, first of all you have to use the spread operator, okay, on which this to-dos array, and after spreading all the to-dos, like whatever value is present inside this array, first of all add all those value, and after that you have to add that new object. Now this issue is fixed. Now let me show you. See, and if I again add the name, let's say this is the name, and if I click on the add to do button, now see, this value is getting added. Okay, now let us style these to do items first of all. Okay, and after that we are going to add the delete functionality. But before that, let me install one package for icon, so that we can have that trash button on the right side of this content. Now what we want to do here, let us see. First of all, we will add border in order to visualize this to do. Okay, so we need to fix the width. Let us copy this entire code from the form and paste it here. Okay, now it is working perfectly fine. But now let us style this to do element as well. So what we need to do here is, let us open the React icons link. Okay, I will provide you all these resources link in the description section, okay, or the discussion section, whatever it is. Now let us search for the trash icon. So here is the trash icon. We will use this. Now where I am going to write this, let me import this icon from React icons. Now see, from where I am going to bring this package, because just I have copied the name now from website. See the initial, see the two initial words, it is B and S, so this icon is coming from the BS package. Okay, now what we will do is we will add one span tag, and inside this span tag we will add this icon. Okay, now we have got the icon as well. Now let us try to add the class. We will be using flex and item center. Now we will be adding justify between. Okay, now let us add border 2, and let me remove the border 2 from this, and let me remove again border from the contact form as well, and from the top as well. Now I want to add margin of 2 on the y-axis, and let us add padding on the x-axis of, let's say, 3, and padding on y-axis should be 5. Okay, now it is looking perfectly good. It should be, I think it is items center. Yeah, it is items center, because when it was item center, see, this trash icon was somewhat on the top, so it is items center. Now what we need to do, see, whenever you click on this trash icon, what should happen? This to do should be removed. Okay, how we are going to achieve that thing? Let us add that logic. But first of all, let me add one more class name of cursor pointer, because I want to add a pointer cursor to this. Yeah, okay. Now see, we want to apply the on click event handle delete. We want to call whenever you click on this trash icon. So where we will create handle delete, we will create here const handle delete. Now see, on handle delete, what you want, let us try to see the logic first of all. See, whenever you click on this trash icon, you should have the ID of this to do, because when ID is unique, and when you will have the ID, you can easily find this element. Okay, so first of all, let us see if we are getting the ID or not. So here I want to receive the ID, and I want to log this ID on console. And see, now how I will pass ID here, I need to add a callback function here. Why? Because when we call our custom function like this now, then in that case you have to pass this callback function. Why? Because on the click of this icon you should get the ID now. Otherwise, if you will add like this now, then let me show you what will happen. It will create a infinite loop. Okay, means it is getting automatically called, and in that case your call stack will be filled, and you will get a maximum call stack exceed error. Okay, now what we need to pass here, see, this to do object has ID as well, because we passed the ID now. Let me show you. See, now we are getting ID, and it is unique for each and every element. Now on the base of this ID, we can easily fetch this to do item. Let us try to achieve that thing. Now what we are going to do, see, first of all we have to create one new to do's array. Why? I will tell you that thing within a minute. Let's take the name as new to do's. Now in this array we need to copy all the data which is present in the to do's array, original to do's array. Okay, now what we need to do, we will find this to do item first of all. So how I can find that? I can find that with the help of your find method. So I will apply this find method to this new to do. Now what I want to find is, I will tell you what this find method does. It will have the element. Now we need to return something. When our element dot id is equal to the id which we are passing, let to do obj And now let us console.log this to do obj first of all, and let us see if we are getting that or not. If I click on this, see, I get this to do and the id is same, and if I click on this, then I get the exact same to do. Now what we need to do this, we need to remove this to do item from this array. And how you are going to remove this? You can remove this with the help of splice method. But before that, first of all, let me tell you what this find method do. See, this find method helps you to find the element, okay, the first element which satisfy the condition which you are passing inside this callback function. So here, what will be the first element which is matching the id? It was this. And in the case of this last to do item, it was the this item. Okay, so it will only return as the first item. Let's say if two item has the same id, in that case also it is going to return as the first element. Now what you need to do, or instead of this find, we need to use the find index. Okay, find index will return you the first index of the element which satisfies this condition. Okay, it is exactly similar to find. Now what we need to do, we will use this new to do array and we will apply the splice method. Now what are the values this splice method take, or the arguments? First is the index. So let me add the index name here and here as well. Now from this index we want to remove only one element. See, this one denotes the delete count, means how many elements you want to delete when you start from this index, and I want to delete only one. Now what we are going to do then, now this splice method will remove all the to dos. Now you have to add this new to dos array inside our original array, because our original array is mapping all the values which we are able to see here. So let us do that thing. So we will call the set to dos method and we will pass the new to dos here, and let us try to see if this is working or not. Let me remove this. See, on the 0 index it is getting removed. If I click on this, it is getting removed. Okay, this is the main logic which we have implemented if you want to delete the element. Okay, and now let us add some basic validation. Okay, so first of all, let me remove this console.log from here. What we want is that this input tag should be empty whenever we try to add something. See, because when I click on this, empty to do item is getting added. We need to prevent this. First of all, let us do this thing. If our value is empty, in that case we will simply throw one alert. Please enter some valid value, and in else case we will call this set to do method. Let us see if this is working or not. Okay, see, it is working, and now our empty to do's are not getting added. Now let me remove this. Let me remove all these first of all, so that we can test and try our application. Okay, it is getting added. But now see, one more problem which we see now is that this input field is not getting clear. So how we can do that? See, which hook is handling this thing, or you can say the which method is handling this input field? It is this. So now after adding the to do, you have to again set the what I have done, the value of this state. Okay, so that it should become empty. If I write and press enter, see, now it is working and our input field is auto getting empty. Okay, and now let me try to add one heading also above this form, that h1 of text to Excel. It will not work. I need to create the h1 tag manually, which say React Todo application, and the class name which we are going to apply is the text center my5. Margin on the y-axis should be 5 and the text should be the 2xl size. Let us see how it is going to work. Okay, and let me add the font bold property as well. Okay, now it is working perfectly fine. Okay, now see, let us try to see this main file. Okay, because this app.js is main file of our application. Now see, our this app.js has become a little bit lengthy. Okay, it is not that much lengthy, but yeah, it is a little bit lengthy. So what you can do is, see, React is all about the components. Okay, means you can break the several pieces of your website and they will be called as components. Let's say this input box is a separate component. Okay, this navigation bar which you see on the right hand side is a separate different component. Now let's say the example of Tailwind CSS website. The navigation bar, this one on the top, is a separate component. Okay, this is a separate component. This search bar is a separate component. Okay, this heading might be, and the subheadings might be the separate component. Okay, so like this you have to break down your website. So how we are going to break our website? We are simply going to remove this to do item. Okay, we are not going to remove our forms and anything, just we are going to remove our to do item. So what I will do is I will create one folder with the name of components, and inside this components I will create one file which say to do item.js. Now let me create the boilerplate code and let us add this. Let me add the formatting in a proper way. Okay, now let us import this to do item here. To do item. Now see, now let us check our application. Now see, there are so many errors in our application. What it says is that index is not defined, to do object is not defined, handle delete, and all these errors we are getting from the to do item. So let us try to fix some of the error. First of all, we need to fix this image. Now see how I'm going to fix this image. You just have to cut this line and paste here. Now how you are going to receive these index, and let us remove this index as well from here. Okay, keep prop. Now how you are going to receive this object, handle delete method. Okay, you are going to receive all these things with the help of prop. So what is prop? Prop is a property which you pass to any element. Okay, it is very simple. So how I will pass the prop? See, whatever name you are getting here, you just have to write that name and equal to the value, and value will be the same here. See, this name can be different, okay, but the value which you are passing, it should be this only. Okay, now how we are going to receive this value inside this to do item. So here we have to, here we will receive through props. So I will destructure the props and we will receive is to do obj, to do object, means the name which we are passing here na, not the value, the name which we are passing here na, we have to write the exact same name here. Okay, and we have to also pass the handle delete method. Remove the comma and let us receive the handle delete method as well. Now let us check if it is working perfectly fine or not, or we are getting some errors. Let me refresh this. Okay, it is working perfectly fine, but now again we are getting the key prop error. Now see, I have removed this to do item from our main file. Now where we will add that key prop, so we have to add our key prop to this main item. Okay, you will add here. Now see, you are getting the index here. Okay, but in to do item we are passing this unique value now, where we are passing that here. So see, instead of using this index, now what you can do is, let us remove this index here, and instead of this you can simply write to do object dot id. You can use the id as well, because id will be unique each and every time. Now let me show you. See, now our application is working perfectly fine and there are no errors. And if I try to add some empty value, then we have some basic validation as well. So that's all about this React to do application video, and you will get all these resource files on my GitHub account. I will share the link in the description box for all the resources and the code files, and you can use these files from there.